Batman and Robin, issue 25, legacy number 91, Philip Kennedy Johnson writing with FICO OSSIO on the art. So this is the start of a new arc, which they say proudly on the front cover. They love to advertise a new arc so people might jump in if they weren't buying it already.
Yep.
And we've got a seemingly new character. Maybe they'll reveal something later, but we have the Quiet Man here.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with the video game character, the Quiet Man. Because he's not very good, that character.
Wasn't? Oh, that was the Thin Man. I was like, wasn't there old movies that were about detectives? I think that was the Thin Man. I think they were Nick and Nora. I can't remember. I had to watch them in film school back in the day. I think it was the Thin Man, not the Quiet Man. But yeah, no. Instantly, the mood in this, and just that first page with him getting released out of the penitentiary, I was just like, oh man, this is almost like the end of Shawshank, right? Like, what's this man up to? And I was like, all right, Johnson, you've hooked me already.
I'm not going to take apart that it's like the end of Shawshank, because other than the fact that he's in a prison, I don't see there's anything like Shawshank. But
well, that's what I mean. Wait, so the end of Shawshank, right, is him escaping, right, not being released, and then we have to, with the way that ends, what was Andy's future after that, right? Here, I'm getting the vibe that here he's released, but he's got more to do. So that's what I was getting more or less of that.
Someone gets out of prison. That's the only connection you're making.
Yeah.
No, so this guy gets out of prison and he seems quite friendly with the guards. They're saying goodbye and best of luck. There's no one to pick him up. When he does go to like this church when he gets out, he goes to a gravestone and he kind of touches it, and there's an implication of at least a son that he's maybe lost along the way. But he's got a box that's buried with like a newspaper article in there that says feared mob boss dies in captivity, and there's maybe a couple other doodads in there, like a chain and some money or whatever. And that's our introduction. That's our introduction to this character. It's very moody. The art's very good. I think Ossio here, like, we've definitely seen stuff by Ossio before, but this I don't remember like having like a memorable positive opinion. Not that I remember it being bad either, but I think this is particularly good.
Ossio is typically a fill-in guy that comes in for an issue and does stuff, and I feel like tends to almost adopt that style that was ongoing. You usually see him filling in for like Gia Domenico or whatever because it's very similar. Here, I feel like for the first time I'm seeing Ossio's art for what it should be, and I like these really quiet moments in these first two pages.
Yeah, because
I think it works really well.
Because he goes to this church in the cemetery, and like there's just like there's light coming through the trees. There's all these kind of like just branches in the background. There's a lot of detail.
Yeah.
It has a mood. It has like a mood right away. And then we cut to the action where Tiger Shark is laying a helicopter assault on one of Penguin's warehouses or whatever it is. And Batman comes in the Batplane and they're like, shit, Batman's here, and we get a big action set piece. And notably, Batman is wearing his new Batman issue 1 outfit, so they've done some synergy here, which makes me wonder if in Detective he's going to be switching to the blue cape as well. But yeah, so there's a whole like running thing here where it's, like, Robin clearly over the comms keeps saying now, and Batman's like, not now. And he was grappling onto the helicopter that the bad guys are in. He's like kicking people through, and then eventually he's like, yeah, Robin now. And Robin comes out in kind of a new outfit as well, actually. And he's on a motorbike, and he runs up onto the roof as Batman's fighting the dudes, and drives the motorbike through the helicopter, like the opening of the helicopter, and knocks out one of the guys, and grabs Tiger Shark. So the helicopter crash lands, and like Batman's like dragging the unconscious bodies of the various henchmen, and it's like it's basically just a successful night out for Batman and Robin. They have taken out these guys, they've stopped this war from happening, and it all leads to like a quiet scene where Batman and Robin are on a rooftop, and Batman's saying, look, that was a good job tonight. I don't tell you how often enough how proud I am. And you said you wanted to be like a Wayne as well as a part of the Bat family, and I'm going to make sure you have both. It's a nice scene. He smells a bit. Like it's a very happy thing, and the art's really nice here because they bring up this whole thing with the, you know, when it's about to rain some mornings, if you look over this side of the city, you can see like blue lights coming up from this power plant, and you can see red lights coming up from this other place, like from the bridge or whatever.
From the bridge,
and it makes this sort of blue and red kind of glow that you can see over the course of the city. So there's a nice mood again and atmosphere. The art is really doing a lot of the work here as well, admittedly, but obviously Johnson's writing here is pretty good.
And yeah, the way the cityscape looks with the blue and the red coming through there, and the way that Batman's standing there with the cape in the wind, right? It all sets up, like you said, a very fun mood, and it's similar to that quiet moment at the beginning with the guy walking through the cemetery and the small church. So I like the similar tones that are going on.
And if I am right in thinking that he lost a son, then that might thematically tie into Batman and Robin and potential risks of losing Robin and all that. I will say, you know, like one of the critiques we maybe had when Johnson's run started is that Damian felt like he'd regressed a little bit. And then obviously we went through the arc of Memento, and we got to this point where Batman and Robin are kind of in a better place. It's kind of this thing where they feel happier here than they did in general before, but obviously they regressed for the purpose of the arc so that it felt like a bigger change. So it's kind of this weird thing where, oh, well, in the context of just this book, this feels like a nice natural, like, ongoing, like, thing from where we were, but, you know, like, technically they were in a kind of an okay place before that arc. It's just that Johnson wrote them to be in a pretty pissy mood with each other.
Yeah, he regressed them so he could progress them, and the progression isn't to where we were before he regressed them, right?
No, I would argue it's a bit further. No, do you not think? This feels a lot more like loving fatherly than I feel like Batman usually is with Damian.
Maybe, but I still think before that I felt like we were getting. Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe it is a little bit further, but I still feel like we're still a little bit behind. I don't know. The whole part with him talking to the chessboard about Roz, you know, he's like, I'm winning our game. You know, I thought that was a little bit, I thought Batman was a little bit past that at this point, you know?
It was a quick callback. It felt like that's all it was. I think for me, it felt like it took Damian a step back at the start of the first arc, but now then he went 2 steps forward through the arc, so now we're a little bit forward again here, especially in the side of like, oh, I want to like embrace my Wayne side. Like that's definitely kind of a new thing that we're really dealing with here.
I like that.
And Bruce is like, hey, let's go see a movie tonight. We've earned a break. We stopped the war, and like things will probably be quiet. Penguin's probably celebrating, which he is. We'll get to that in a second. So he's like, yeah, let's go to a movie. And Damien says, like, are we going to go to that theater? And he's like, oh, I don't know, we'll see what's playing. But yeah, they end up going to the theater that Bruce went to as a kid, where the Wayne's murder happened. So an interesting choice. I mean, it's a big city. I'm sure there's other movie theaters you could be going to, but you're going to that one.
Gotham's huge. I used to have 4. So in my small suburban part of Las Vegas, at one point I had 4 theaters within 3 miles. You're telling me Gotham doesn't have a similar scatter?
He's all about
like, come on, man.
Facing his fear. He's all about facing his trauma, you know?
Well, also, this does not look like Crime Alley anymore, right? Like, this has spotlights on the theater when they get there, you know? It all looks real nice.
Oh, sure. There is that one moment, though, where Damien looks down the alley and sees the street light shining down. It's just like, there's nothing there, but it's just like, oh, what was there once upon a time?
This is where it happened.
So Penguin's celebrating with all of his cronies, like, thanks to the Batman. Like, we no competition.
I really like this because he's going on, he's like, you know, to Tiger Shark, who should have known better, right? And to Polly, who's our new underboss and made this successful, and to Batman, you know, who's the unsung hero of the crew. I like that because it plays in with the Tom King Penguin. Right, where the Batman and Penguin have this relationship.
Sure, yeah.
Where they both kind of use each other. So I like that we're going back to that here.
Also, can we talk about how this is clearly based on Danny DeVito, this Penguin art?
Yeah.
Like, holy shit. Like, he's really going for that version of Penguin.
This is the sick little nasty freak version that bites people in the nose and eats raw fish.
He's got he's got the pointy nose. He's got the shape.
Mm-hmm.
Everything about him is very much.
His hands are in the flippers, right? Look how he's holding the wine glass or the champagne flute, rather.
Yep.
Yeah, nasty little freak version of Penguin.
Yep. So yeah, but the big thing though is that this the quiet man comes to the iceberg lounge and says that he's there to see Penguin, but the bouncer out front's like, "Oh, piss off, buddy." But when he doesn't go, he's like, "Hey, you're going to regret not going when I told you." But this guy fights him, and he kills him as well. He shoots him in the head. So we get a full red panel when the gun fires, and obviously the people inside hear it. And what we effectively get is this quiet man is John Wick levels of skill, where he comes into the room and starts just shooting Penguin's henchmen left and right. Ends up as the fire starts. He throws a dagger, and I love there's a panel in the middle of one of the pages of Batman and Robin at the movies, just watching like whatever they're watching, in the middle of all the chaos. In fact, both the last couple of pages have that. So you know, fun. But yeah, the cliffhanger is, this guy's coming for Penguin. There's fire everywhere. Yeah. He starts quoting. He says, "Bless mine eyes with silver, that I might watch for the Saviour's coming. If I die today, let it be in penance for my sins, redeemed by the guns of holy men." So clearly, he's got an old vendetta that he is coming to settle.
Well, if his son was the mob boss that died because in prison, right? That was in that box, that newspaper clipping, because of something that the Penguin did, he's coming for him, right? And I don't know if I made the assumption that his son was the mob boss. I guess I was thinking the mob boss was something related to his past, and then the son was maybe younger. But I mean, you may be right. Maybe he is. Maybe. He's going full bore revenge, right? This is like Liam Neeson taken, like you said, John Wick. And he's, the last thing we see is the iceberg lounge half on fire, or half of the iceberg lounge on fire. And then which is also a stark image.
The warm tones of the fire really contrast with the cold blue of the rest of the iceberg lounge as well, which is really nice on that last page.
And all the while, Bruce and Damien are watching a movie. I hope it was a good movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I honestly, I'm quite impressed with Ossio's art here, because, like, again, it's not a name that I ever got excited about or assumed, oh, this is going to be a great issue for art. But I feel like the overall vibe of this is like very consistent throughout. It's very scratchy and moody. Like it's got like warm glows where it needs to, but like even when the warm glows like are adding kind of a moody atmosphere to it. Like whether it's the quiet man in the cemetery early on, or even when the Wayne Manor, or probably the Pennyworth Manor, actually, to be honest. I was talking last week about how Batman issue 1 reminded us that that's where they were staying, because it hadn't really been mentioned in over a year. But there's like sunlight coming in from the window behind them as they're getting ready to go to bed, and it's just there's just this moodiness to it because everything's so dark, but with this warm glow of light coming through. There's a vibe that I really appreciate that feels like it's got a lot going on. And then you add in like the more monstrous looking penguin face and like other stuff. The action flows well. Really can't complain about that either. I'm intrigued by this like Hitman style vengeance character. Yeah. So
and just the quiet moments offset by like the action with Tiger Shark and the entire like it's a helicopter thing, right? Like Batman shows up and disables a helicopter, and there's this like zany action in these parts that are otherwise quiet. And then we meet Penguin, and there's this raucous kind of celebratory party going on there too. So the quiet moments really get offset by those action, and it's balanced really well.
Yeah. Also, I feel like this is something that should happen a bit more often in comics, is that the first issue of an arc, like the hero shouldn't even be aware of what the main villain of the arc is doing yet. Like, we see Batman and Robin take care of this like, side thing that, I mean, it's slightly related to what Penguin's celebrating about later, but it's mostly just a little thing on its own to say, hey, they're doing their jobs well, they're having a successful night, and this thing's brewing. And the Batman and Robin stuff's mostly about their relationship. It's mostly about the father-son dynamic and all that. And then the Quiet Man stuff's bubbling up throughout the issue. And obviously the aftermath of this, like Batman and Robin are going to obviously hear about it because like, oh, the Aceberg Lounge is on fire and like there's like dozens and dozens of men dead because of this Quiet Man's rampage. Like, you know, and then that'll draw him into the story next issue. Because part of the excitement almost is he's sitting there watching the movie. He's like, oh shit, what's he going to think when he finds out? Like oh, we were taking the night off and this happened. Not that he'd have been there. It's not like they knew this was going to happen at the Aceberg Lounge, but
no.
So,
but it might almost reinforce to Damian like you can't take breaks, right? And it's something that Bruce has to learn or had to learn. So you know, because we'll see. Because right, it's Bruce that wants to go to the movie, not Damian. So. You know, I wonder if that's going to play into it as well.
Yeah, I might. What are you giving Batman and Robin 25?
I'm going to give this a straight 8. I thought it was really strong.
I'm going to go 8.5. I think I quite like this. I like the new character, the tease of him, and like his, you know, ironically very quiet kind of introduction where he's just a man of action as opposed to like over explaining what's going on. And then all the Batman and Robin stuff I thought was good. The art's great. Yeah, good stuff.